Welcome, everybody, to the latest episodes of True Believers here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Of course, True Believers is your podcast and show on YouTube that covers all the happenings in comic book media, mainly movies and TV. And right now, we are continuing our march on through Daredevil Born Again. This week, we're discussing Season 2, Episode 6, Requiem. Now, we're talking Daredevil, which means I need to have a cast of defenders here with me on the Fandom Podcast Network and True Believers. And I've got some pretty good ones here. First up, this week we'll call him our Iron Fist. He was doing a little American Ninja action earlier in the weekend. He is the one and only Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
Wow. Hi, what's up? I've been told I need to work on my kung fu, so that's what I'm doing. Wow.
You got a lot of work.
Ninja was awesome last night.
You got a lot of work to do. Our next guest, he's the Power Man. He's the Cage. He's the Deadpool. And he's a Hawkeye too. The one and only Cat Cedar.
You need to keep working on your martial arts there, buddy.
I'm working.
Yeah.
At least I look good. So here we go.
Are you using the same book that Daniel LaRusso did at the beginning of The Karate Kid?
I don't think he was. I think he was trying to do that.
Well, guys, we are gathered here to talk Daredevil Born Again here on the True Believers podcast. Of course, this is a spoiler reaction show. So guess what? That's right, guys. From this point forward, you have been warned. If you have not watched the latest episode of Daredevil Born Again, step away for a few minutes, go watch it, come back. We're going to get into some spoiler territory on this episode and things that are going on with Daredevil. And of course, again, this is the True Believers podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network. You know, we strive to feed your ears with great podcasts. So,
and God, I just want to let people know that if they're watching live, shoot us their thoughts in the live chat, and we'll share them on the show.
If Fisk doesn't censor them.
Yeah, I know, right?
And if you are watching live on the YouTube channel, scan that QR code. It'll take you to our audio page where we have all of our back catalog of shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. There's some classics there and always a good time. 10 years worth of material, ladies and gentlemen. Hard to believe. I feel old. But let's talk some Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 6, Requiem. Of course, you can go back and catch all of our other episodes covering Daredevil as well. But Mr. Reitzel, would you care to, again, one final spoiling alert before I go to Mr. Reitzel, but Mr. Reitzel, would you care to get your Marvel narrator on and tell us about this week's episode of True Believers?
Of course. Let me get that narrator voice going on here. Here we go. Okay.
Hi, this is Stan Lee.
All right. This is the episode synopsis for Season 2, Episode 6, Requiem. Fisk mourns Vanessa, kills her surgeon, and lets the AVTF move Mr. Charles' weapons into their own warehouse. An angry Mr. Charles offers to help McCaffrey with removing Fisk from office. He also sends men to attack Jessica Jones, a superpowered investigator who turns down an offer to work for him. Jones overpowers them and goes to the AVTF warehouse with Daredevil to destroy their weapons. Cashman tells Blake to feed BB false information and encourages Glenn to imitate Muse's actions. Paige nearly kills Dex, but is stopped by Murdock, who disagrees with Paige that Fisk and Dex should be killed. BB decides not to leak the information and almost kisses Blake, but he confronts her about the previous leaks. Paige joins a protest outside City Hall and projects testimonies of the Red Hook prisoners onto the building. Murdock visits Fisk and suggests that they both leave New York to have peace, but Fisk refuses and they fight. Murdock wins and leaves Fisk alive. During the protest, lead AVTF officer Connor Powell kills Saunders and blames vigilantes, causing chaos, which leads to Paige being caught.
Okay, guys. Instant reactions to this. Kat, I'm going to start with you.
I thought this was a fun episode. I really enjoyed it. I loved the beginning. Loved the fight scene with Fisk and Murdock. And just, you know, the fight scene with Jessica and Murdock. I mean, it was good to finally see her. Thank God. Thank you. And yeah, all in all, I really liked this episode. I liked the story with Karen Page. I'm curious how next week's going to start because this one ended in quite a holy crap kind of like. But yeah, I liked it.
Kevin?
As well. I liked it as well. I like how we're kind of starting to see what I think is the demise of Fisk's term as mayor. He's starting to unravel. We were speculating that was going to happen anyway, and how we got to see it, especially with him squeezing the hell out of the doctor's life.
Such a great opening scene.
Great opening scene, yeah.
Yeah.
You're wondering, like, he's going to kill the doctor, but how's he going to do it?
That reminds me of one thing. Remember the Swordfish's opening scene with the bombs blowing up? It was just quick. That's what it's like. Just that kind of like mentality of like crush.
The John Travolta movie with that explosion. Yeah.
That was so epic of an opening scene.
Yeah.
Just reminded me of that.
Great to see Jessica Jones back. I was kind of curious how they were going to tie her in there. We'll talk more about that later. But you can just see that everything's coming to head with the protesters, the AVTF, and a lot of characters had moments in this episode, and especially with the Gandolfini guy's character and BB. That was interesting. I was curious to see how Bullseye, what was going to happen with him, and especially with him and Karen, and that was great. And Daredevil trying to create peace again with Fisk. I hope he's learned that's not going to happen. But yeah, we'll get more into that later. But really enjoyable episode. I've got thoughts.
Yeah. It was a fantastic episode. Great, of course, to see Jessica Jones back. Kristen Ritter is always welcome on my screen as that character. I think the thing that surprised me about this episode is how much they moved forward in one episode. It felt like they dealt with a lot of things in this episode.
Good call.
Things that I thought would carry over for more than since we still had 5 episodes left, maybe play a little bit longer game with them, but they've hit fast forward a little bit on this and really moved a lot of things forward rapidly in one episode. So I'm curious to see how we're going to go from there. Kat, I got to give a shout out to this episode. This has been the best Daredevil fight sequence series as far as Daredevil's fighting style, especially with the Billy Club. There's a scene in the warehouse with him and Jessica Jones fighting the AVTF was phenomenal. And just how Daredevil was fighting with the Billy Club and all of that action, they have nailed it this season with that.
I'm glad they're using more of the Billy Club to incorporate his fighting style like the comic books, which is nice to see, instead of him just punch, kick, using the club, bouncing off things. And
from someone who's not familiar with the comics, but
comic.
Well, this is where my take come from. I'm the visual video person. I'm the one that watches the TVs and movies and gives my thoughts on that. But regarding the Billy Club, though, I've seen it evolve, and from the stuff I've heard you talk about, Kat, Kyle, that it seems to have a lot of tricks. He's got more than one type, and it's kind of cool to see which versions he's using. So yeah.
Yeah,
it seems like I would guess he's probably using his year 1 version way back in the beginning, which was just the cord, the grapple cord, and the mic, not the microphone, but the what the hell is that little thing he had in the bottom of his club? I can't remember what it is.
Forgive me. I'm blanking on it too, but he's using more of it.
Is this kind of off on a little bit of a tangent, but is this why we'll never see Daredevil, fight cosmic gods and Thanos, because he can only handle street level crime?
There's an issue of a comic in Secret Wars where he does actually deal with the Beyonder, which is an incredibly cosmic being, but they didn't fight. He just would have.
He represented him, actually.
Yeah, he did that too in Secret Wars too. Yeah.
Yeah, and as payment, the Beyonder gave him his sight back.
Yeah, that really messed him up. He tried to use his swinging ability and smacked right into a giant vat, because his eyesight was good, he could see, but his radar sense was also going off. He's like, splat into the wall. But yes, he's not a cosmic level character. He will not be involved on those cosmic levels. Unless somebody writes him really stupidly. Please, nobody write him stupidly.
Yeah. Well, guys, we are talking Daredevil Born Again, episode 6, Requiem. Of course, this is the Fandom Podcast Network's True Believers. This is a Marvel podcast, so we do things a certain way around here, and that's in phases. So, Kevin, is the Tesseract powered up? You went to Vegas for a couple days. I just want to make sure you left it plugged in.
I did, but it's taking a nap right now. We're good.
Okay, well, I'm gonna siphon a little power off of it while it's not looking. And before we get into our next phase, I just want to vet again. I really hope that everybody who's still watching Netflix 3 seasons through rose-tinted view and doesn't support DDBOA, give it a chance. I can't believe people aren't giving this show a chance. This is one of the best things on television right now.
Yeah.
And it's a great point, but I really do hope a lot of people who are seeing this for the first time and never saw the original Daredevil are using Disney Plus to go back. And again, continue saying streaming via Disney Plus and get to see how cool season 2 is. Season 2, of course, was amazing. That was the introduction of Frank Castle's Punisher in this version of Daredevil, and that was an amazing of Daredevil.
I'll be honest, there was a time, and Dan, thanks for bringing that up, because I thought there was a time we would never see Daredevil Netflix on Disney Plus, and this is fantastic.
Absolutely true.
Yeah,
it is. But guys, we're in phase 2, so let's talk about the cast here a little bit. Outstanding as always. Everybody's great in it, but we pick our MVPs, and I'm going to kick off with mine. My MVP this week is Karen Page, Deborah Ann Wall. She was fantastic in this episode. The emotional thing she was going through, you see her with the struggle with Bullseye, you see her dealing with Matt and confronting Matt about how Matt is and not wanting to take that extra step, cross that line that Matt won't cross right now. We almost even see her kind of come back a little bit during the whole rebellion scene at the mayor's office, where she kind of snaps back into reality, and of course ending on this huge cliffhanger of her getting captured. She was phenomenal in this episode. I really thought she was the heart of this episode, guys, but I'm going to ask you, Kevin, who's your MVP this week?
She was definitely the heart of the episode, and I was kind of waffling between her and Vincent D'Onofrio as Fisk in this episode, because we got to see Fisk start to lose it, and you can tell he's just struggling mentally and internally with this. And I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't even get worse, but I feel like that's yet to come. But mine's going to be Vincent D'Onofrio. I love giving him props for his character as
he was very
Wilson
good this
Fisk.
week.
Yeah.
Kat, what about you?
I'm in the same boat as you are, Kyle. I would have said that she is the heart and soul of this episode. Although I don't know her name. Again, I'm terrible with names. But the woman who had the issue with Muse, she was really good as well. I thought her scene with the Kingpin's right-hand man was really cool. She was like choking him, like seeing Muse and then stopping and then going. And so I thought her little scene was pretty good as well. But definitely Karen, she stole the show. Number one.
Finnegan has a good point. This could have been a finale episode. Ending on that fight would have been a great way to end the season.
That's a good point. It does have a season finale feel to it. It really does.
We need more. We can't end like that.
No, it's true, but it felt like it could have been.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm well aware. Trust me.
Don't do that to Kat, man. Don't do that to Kat.
Yeah.
I need more to see before that ends like that. Don't do that to me.
Well, we got a little more things to talk about here. Let me siphon off a little bit more Tesseract energy. Let's talk some trivia and Easter eggs. And the first one is a huge one. And Kat, I want to get your thoughts on this after I tell people what this Easter egg actually is, because we're going to talk Danielle, Jessica Jones's daughter. After a tactical team attacks a suburban house belonging to none other than Jessica Jones, it is later revealed that Jessica has a young daughter named Danielle, who was born in the interim between Jessica Jones season 3 and Daredevil Born Again season 2. In the original comics, Jessica also has a daughter named Danielle, whom she had with her husband, Luke Cage. As a result, it's more than likely that the same is true in the MCU as well. In the comics, Danielle also grows up to become a brand new Captain America in the distant future of an alternate Marvel universe, similarly possessing heightened strength and invulnerability, just like her parents. This is a big deal, Kat. This is actually a huge thing to add from the comics into the MCU.
I thought that was completely nuts the way they did it, because I wouldn't have expected her to come out until a little later. However, if they speed up the timeline with her a little bit, she could easily be part of the whole Young Avengers thing we've been talking about for the last year or two. You know, the one that's there I mean, they could pull a switch on us and give us her instead of, like, say, Wiccan or, someone else who's sort of in hiatus right now because of the whole Wanda episode. But maybe, I mean, yeah, I thought it was great to see her. And it was just funny how she's walking around with the bomb, like, oh, don't mind me. Don't mind this.
I want to ask you something about that, Kat, real quick. And then, Kevin, I'll get your thoughts. Were you expecting that grenade to go off in her hands and she would
about
just be standing there unharmed?
I'm like, tick. Is it gonna go up? Is it gonna blow up in her face? Is she gonna?
Did she slow down this fuse or the detonation of that grenade? Because it lasted forever. It didn't. It was weird.
I think it was just meant to last a bit longer to keep people like Kyle and I in suspense. Like, is it gonna blow up in her hands? And she goes.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Just Kyle and I? What about me?
You don't read the comics, so you don't get to answer that question. Sorry.
Damn.
Love you, bro.
Okay, Kevin, did you have suspicions of who the dad was?
Damn, comic elitist up there. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage totally boned in Netflix. So I was going, yeah, bow chicka bow wow. Now they got the offspring. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how they're going to play this up in season 3. I'm looking forward to that. But our next piece of trivia is what I did to Wesley. And I think this was a very important piece of trivia. Again, this show is so good about going back to those Netflix seasons of Daredevil. And of course, if you remember in that Netflix seasons, Karen Page kills Wesley, who was Kingpin's right-hand man at the time. And she's still...
Hold on. Can you remind us how that came about? Like, what happened with that? I don't remember the plot details.
Wesley went to kill her. Basically, the Kingpin sent Wesley to kill her because she had information on something that she was going to reveal that was going to take down the Kingpin.
Gotcha.
But the fact that they still play up, she's not only dealing with the trauma of Foggy, but the trauma of this. And she talks about how she still has nightmares about it and what she's been through. I think this was a key reveal as far as how Karen Page's mindset was in this episode, guys. I think, and again, this show is so brilliantly taking things from the Netflix series and making sure there's those connective threads, Kevin.
Yeah, it's we've been talking about this all the season because I feel like this season's let's show love to Netflix. Let's show that these wonderfully produced and acted Netflix shows, which are also currently on Disney Plus. So if you want to go back and rewatch them, please do. That they're totally building on the connective tissue with that, and they're not ignoring it. So yeah, it's been a pleasant surprise.
Kat, I mean, we've talked about this
many times.
This is one of the biggest points of this show is how well it's doing this.
Like I think I've said it almost every episode since we've been doing this season, that whoever the people are that are getting the Netflix information and keeping it streamlined.
Don't they have people from the Netflix series working on the show?
A lot of people. They brought back a lot of people after the rewrites.
Right. No, I'm just saying the people who did it.
Yeah.
Whoever they are, pay those guys more because they are doing an amazing job getting these little tidbits like this that like, oh, I forgot all about that, and bringing it here. Like, oh, now I remember that. Let me go watch that scene again or watch that episode again. And then, of course, since you watch that episode, you got to watch the next few episodes and then, the next season, and then we stream it again. And next thing you know, you watch Daredevil 5 times.
Yeah. Kevin, can you help me out with this next piece of trivia?
You got it. Okay. Not everyone I know did. Number 3 here. Meeting with Daredevil, Jessica confirms Mr. Charles and the CIA's involvement with Mayor Fisk. She also reveals that he's interested in vigilante and people with powers, so she told him to F offs. She then says that not everyone she knows did. Jessica is clearly implying that Luke Cage is now involved with Charles and the CIA, explaining his current absence. However, we know from set photos and social media posts that Mike Coulter's Luke Cage will make his own MC return in Daredevil Born Again Season 3.
I think this is a little important because if you remember at the end of the last season of Luke Cage, he also took over as boss of Harlem. And I could see where he would get with Mr. Charles if he needed to protect something in Harlem or make a deal like that. So I think this is a pretty poignant thing. And then you got into the Danielle factor. It really stands out, Kat.
Just like in the comics, he's very overprotective of his family and will do anything to, stop anyone from hurting them. So he may even go a little shady to do it. This might be what that shady thing is that he's doing and why he's not there right now.
Fedigan brings up, he wonders if we'll see some or all of the Defenders members in the Secret Wars movie. Probably not in Doomsday. I agree. We're not seeing them in Doomsday. Maybe in Secret Wars, but that's a long way off. Let's see what's going to happen here. But guys, the last piece of trivia I think is just very poignant for this episode. One of the actually something very important, and that's Rabbit in a snowstorm with new blood. Daredevil desperately attempts to forge a final truce with Wilson Fisk at the end of the episode, suggesting that they both leave New York before anybody else they love dies or gets hurt. Fisk refuses Daredevil's offer before charging at Murdock. The resulting fight takes place in front of the classic Rabbit in a snowstorm painting, just like when Daredevil and Fisk fought at the end of Netflix's Daredevil Season 3. It even still has Fisk's blood on it from when he was beaten into submission by Daredevil. However, we now see Fisk inadvertently throwing Daredevil into the painting, tragically damaging the symbol of his love for Vanessa as some brutal salt in the wounds for Fisk, considering her recent passing. Even in his grief, Fisk doubles down, continuing to strike Daredevil until Murdock's own blood is splattered on the painting, a poignant parallel representing their ongoing struggle, which we now know won't end without even more loss and bloodshed. A supremely powerful ending ahead of Born Again Season's 2's remaining 2 episodes. Guys, the symmetry here is just amazing. And the fact that, Fisk loses Vanessa, this painting basically gets destroyed in this fight. Kevin, this represents so much of this conflict between these two men and what this painting is to Fisk.
Yeah, that was a big deal right there. And, Fisk is slowly crumbling mentally right now. And that didn't help the cause. I just want to say really quick that to Fadagian, who says, yeah, sadly, but next after Doomsday, it's nice to see how DCU has stories connecting, not all of us, but some. So, yeah, good stuff there. But yeah, no, that was a great scene.
Kat, what did you think? I mean, Fisk was in a dark place, and I think this was the ultimate snapping point.
This is probably one of the best scenes, I think, of this whole episode, with these two fighting. However, I think the break in the painting is symbolizing Fisk's own break, from reality, not reality, but mentally breaking. So the picture is now broken. He's now broken, and follow that kind of concept possibly. Murdock is broken. The picture is broken, his own. Now they both have their blood on it, so maybe someone online, maybe the painting will get fixed, and Kingpin will be in jail, and Murdock will have finally come to his senses and become the Daredevil that we know and love in the comics.
Well, we're going to talk about we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but that's going to wrap up the Easter eggs and trivia. Guys, let's power up that Tesseract one more time. Gentlemen, it is time to get into phase 3, which is our plot points. And there's a bigger plot point this week than she's back, the return of Jessica Jones. She finally makes a return to the MCU in this episode with a few new surprises, including her daughter Danielle. But that's not the only change. Jessica also tells Daredevil that having Danielle has altered her powers. Sometimes her abilities like strength and invulnerability will come and go. This is something we see in real time following her team up with Matt. While she starts strong, the team ends up with Jessica unable to punch as hard as she typically does. In Netflix, Jessica Jones, it was revealed that Jessica Jones got her powers via genetic testing experiments conducted by a group known as IGH. As such, it does make sense that the long-lasting and often permanent changes to the body post-pregnancy are responsible for Jessica's new power issues. First of all, it was great having Jessica Jones back. We knew this was coming. We've been waiting for it, and we got it. And I think Kristen Ritter was wonderful in this episode. I would have actually liked to have seen more of her, and I hope they have more planned for her over these remaining episodes. Kevin, this was one of their big deals for this advertising for the season. How happy were you to see Jessica Jones back?
Great to see her. I love Kristen Ritter. I think she's great. I just recently watched her in one of my favorite comedies. What's the one where the nerdy guy gets the hot girl and she plays her friend? Alice Eve is the hot girl. What's it called? I'm forgetting the name of it. But anyway, I was happy. I was happy to see Jessica Jones back, and it seemed like their connection never got lost. The camaraderie between Daredevil and her. I was curious about the connection or the information she has regarding the CIA and Luke Cage and all that kind of stuff. So I guess the big question I have was, is this a one and done for her for this season until she comes back with everyone else in last season? And I hope it's not. I hope we get to see more of her, especially with what's going on with her powers and her daughter and how that affects her daughter. That's why I was asking about the grenade thing, because that thing should have gone off. And yeah, but I feel like whatever the daughter did maybe slowed it down or did something like that. So I'm not sure exactly, but that was really nice to see her just back in action, kicking some ass, and destroying all of the guns and the weapons and that was stolen. And I thought that was a really, really cool thing to see. She's Out of My League is the name of the movie that I'm thinking of. Kristen Ritter plays the best friend. Jay Baruchel is the nerdy guy that gets the hot girl in that one. So it's a very funny film.
Kat, Jessica Jones. I know you might need a minute.
That answer the question? Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. No, I'm glad she's back. I love this actress. I love seeing her. She's my ideal epitome of what Jessica Jones should be, looks like, sounds like. And I love Jessica Jones in the comics as well. So this actress is, to me. And like Kevin, I also like the Greek fight scenes. I love it when she punched a hole in the giant crate and then threw it with one hand. Like, yeah, that's Jessica Jones. All right. Throw it first, talk later.
Yeah, Fedigan goes, agreed, and looks the same as 10 years ago. Magician Kristen is. Yeah, very, very true. I actually think they actually used her powers more in this one episode than they did the entire run of Jessica Jones.
I think you might be right.
So, yeah. But
yeah, she played more of a detective in that one. She didn't do a whole lot of fighting, if I remember correctly.
She was supposed to be the early version of Jessica Jones, where she was just a cop, a detective, more so than she was a superheroine. And then slowly, with Luke Cage and Danny Rand and all of them, she sort of came out of her shell and became more of the superhero she is.
Well, more of her trauma that the Purple Man put her through, but that.
I love the Purple Man. What a great villain he is.
Yes,
I want to see him come back too.
We'll see, but. Our next plot point is resist and rebel. The rebellion against Fisk explodes in this episode, revealing to the public the crimes that have taken place in the name of law and order, leading to an intense confrontation between the ATVF and the public. Daredevil and Fisk himself gear into moving. Daredevil and Fisk confront each other. The gears start moving to take Fisk out of power. The governor backs out. Mr. Charles is getting involved. And Karen also finds herself getting captured. This whole scene was just intense. And everything that goes on from when things really heat up at the mayor's office through the end of the episode is just intense from the word go. And this was just had me on the edge of my seat the whole time, Kevin.
Yeah. It was eerie watching Fisk look out the window with all the protesting going on. And Powell, leading the charge of the AVTF. And then, you could just see from the beginning of the episode, though, that that young AVTF guy who was snitching basically wasn't going to last. You saw the way that Powell was kind of treating him. Like,
he was a red shirt. We know it.
Yeah. And then just murdering him straight up and then blaming the crowd or the vigilantes and stuff. Yeah. That was really cool. And then we get to see Karen get captured by Powell. And I have thoughts about what I think is going to happen next episode. I'll save that. But that was a great way to end that episode, because she had her wig on and it got knocked off, and then of all people to grab her and catch her, I'm just like, God, he could just kill her right now.
Yeah. Kat, the setup. I mean, this was just, the intensity was off the charts from the minute the initially start the protest with the kids making up the signs and then other people coming in. And we see what Karen was up to with those interviews and playing those over across the mayor's building. And
absolutely.
So much, just everything, including that confrontation between Kingpin and Daredevil, just solidifying the fact that there's going to be no peace. But to see everything boil over in that fashion and have it be with the ATVF killing one of their own to treat it like somebody was shot and taken out by a vigilante to do that. It just was so immensely powerful.
That's the word I was going to say. That whole sequence from that point forward, incredibly powerful. It was just that's one of those scenes, like I always talk with Kevin when we talk about movies and all that. That's one of those scenes that sort of just draws you right in and like, oh, I gotta watch. You know, as opposed to sometimes movies are like, yeah, that was a good scene, that was cute, that was funny. There are those scenes that make you just sort of, you know, you like yawn and get ready to fall asleep, and then suddenly something that happened, and you're like, whoop, I'm awake now. Let me see what happens. I have to watch this. That was phenomenal. All that part, and I have a couple thoughts about the end of that scene too. So I'll wait till you decide yours, Kevin, and I'll say what mine were. We'll see if we're on the same boat.
Fadasian is saying the exact same thing. I'm wondering is who's going to take out Powell on 7th
I have theories too. So when we're going to get to that, because
I think we all have theories.
Let's bring up plot point 3. Where do we go from here? I mentioned a little earlier in the episode, it really felt like this episode hit the fast forward button, not in a bad way. It just got a ton done. And things that I thought were going to play out a little longer all came to a head this episode. Fisk's world is unraveling to what could lead us to the most dangerous version we've yet seen of Fisk. Karen is captured and appears to be losing her own way in this episode. And Matt, as Daredevil, might be facing the biggest test of his faith and beliefs in the justice system and in his own faith. Plus, you've still got Bullseye, Jessica Jones, Powell, and several other players in the mix. This episode might have lighted the match to the most explosive episodes we've ever had of the Daredevil series, guys. The next few episodes of this to the finale are going to be a wild ride. And I have my theories of what could be happening next, but I'm curious to, Kat, I'm going to let you kick off. What do you think we're going to be seeing here as we wrap up these next few episodes of Daredevil?
Oof, wow. I'm going to say we're going to see more darker versions of everybody first, more violence in the show. Definitely the ending of this episode, I think, is how it's going to start the next episode. And then I guess we're ready to talk about, I'm not sure what we're talking about now, but somebody will stop the guy from killing Karen, because I don't think we can kill Karen, Foggy, and Vanessa in the same season. That might be a little too much, I think. But yeah, no, I see darker until finally, like maybe like episode 8, end of 8, 9, maybe end of 9, redemption, and Murdock finally realizing who he is, what he should be doing, Fisk going to jail, and then becoming the real kingpin of crime as opposed to the kingpin of New York. And then bright and sunny, flowers growing, and Spider-Man joins, you know.
Yeah. Kevin, your thoughts?
It has to be Bullseye that rescues Paige, especially after the scenes that they've had together, you know, because they're on the, even though she's not liking it for obvious reasons, because, you know, he killed Foggy, but they both have the same goal, and that's to end Fisk's and his rule. Bullseye wants to kill everyone, and I feel that Powell is going to get killed by Fisk. I have a feeling. I don't think Karen's going to kill him. I would be surprised if that were to happen, but Powell's got his up and coming soon. And I have a feeling it'll be the next episode, because I think that there'll be an uneven alliance between Daredevil and Bullseye.
It always has been.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting though. What I see a parallel between Bullseye's character and the Punisher's character is that they're willing to pull the trigger and kill people. Mm-hmm. And Daredevil is not like that. And so there's going to be that issue. I don't think we'll see, I don't know. Maybe we'll see the Punisher in the last episode, because then it might go into what the movie is. There has to be something there. I'm not saying he's going to come in and, like, you know, be part of the whole big fight or anything like that. I think it's going to be a little less under the table. We're going to see him, but we're not going to see him in like this big battle at the end. I think that's where we're going to see Bullseye's character come to wherever he's going to end up. And then of course with Fisk and maybe going to jail or whatever, like you mentioned, Kat, you know, then becoming the kingpin inside behind the bars. But yeah.
I could see what you said about Kingpin. Not Kingpin. I'm like Castle showing up at the end of like the episode 10 and Daredevil fighting or bloodied and him reaching out saying, "Hey, need a hand?" and then sort of ending it that way for season 3.
Yeah. The question the question I have though is I'm forgetting his name, but the Gandolfini character here. What is his character's name? I keep forgetting. It's Daniel Blake. So he was told by Wilson's right-hand man, what's his Buck, yeah. To basically set up BB in a lie to find out if she's feeding the information or not. And he does, but then when BB does it, Blake confronts her about it and doesn't give it to Buck to try and kill her or anything. So because he feels for her, right? He's got feelings for her. I'm very curious how this character is what's going on with this. Is he based on a comic book character?
Not really. I think he's pretty much created for this show.
So yeah. I feel like he has to have a big part. I kind of feel like he's going to turn against Kingpin. Or I feel like Buck's going to kill him or something. I feel like something's happening. They wouldn't have this character just be this guy and then have this little side story about, the girl that he likes, and the one that's BB that's putting the information out there and writing
giving him a birthday party.
Yeah. Fedasian says Buck could be like Bullseye, but with a gun, not throwing weapons. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
So I'm just gonna run down the list here of things I think we're gonna see. I think Bullseye does rescue Paige from Pal, but he doesn't take out Pal, and I'll get to where I think we're gonna see end up happening with Pal at the end of the series. The Kingpin is gonna snap next episode. I think he's going to do something so outrageous that he takes himself down. And of course, Mr. Charles and the governor are sitting right there with a replacement in hand. And I think we're going to see the fall of Fisk leading to him either in prison or some kind of federal facility. We're going to see how it plays out. I think it might even be another big fight between Fisk and Daredevil, where Daredevil has to save somebody from Fisk because Fisk has lost it. I think the Gandolfini character is going to be killed by Buck because he's protecting BB in some fashion. Like Buck is going to kill BB, and Gandolfini's character takes the bullet. Basically, I think that's interesting. I think one of the more interesting aspects too is the psychologist and what she's got going on with Buck. I think she's on her own verge of snapping, maybe taking over the Muse mantle. I mean, that could be something that happens. I think it's kind of going to be, we're going to have the end of the season. And it's going to feel like a light is coming in because Fisk is out of power. We've got the new mayor. Things are right with the world, which is going to lead into season 3, Fisk's revenge, and what's going to happen. But I think the other big thing is Pal. I think Pal barely survives his fight with Bullseye, gets away. And we see in the closing credits of the final episode, Frank Castle finds Pal. And that will be the end of Pal.
Interesting. Okay.
That's just me being a little fanboyish there, but those are some of my thoughts. I think.
You know what? The one thing I hope is, how we ended the episode with him pointing the gun at Karen. I want to see a dart, a toothpick, or something. My thought is that it'll bounce off the truck, bounce off the ground, slide into the chamber of the gun as he shoots to try to kill her, causes a misfire, and the gun blows up in his hand, scarring him. And then everything else happening after that.
It'll be one of those coins.
That's a deep cut there, Kat. I like it though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
So, guys, any final thoughts? Something maybe we didn't cover in this episode that you want to bring up?
Yeah, I got something. Okay. So who was the woman that was attending to Bullseye's wounds?
That was the new white tiger. That was her aunt. She was the one who was captured and in the cage. That was not the night nurse.
And that's where I'm getting at. Anyone wish it was? I mean, they've been alluding to this whole thing.
Yes.
And if anyone should be there, it should have been Rosario Dawson's character. Why? I mean, okay, don't give me the scheduling conflicts that she was doing Ahsoka and all that kind of crap. I want to know why that was not her there doing that. Is it because he's a villain, so to speak, and so they don't want her working on the villain? They want her more working on the heroes that are injured? Kat, what's your thought?
She's a nurse. She'd work on anybody. I think it was more for White Tiger scenes so that they could talk to the White Tiger and make sure she's still doing good. Don't do this. Don't do this. When Karen was talking to her, so that
Yeah, you're talking about the moment that she has
Yeah.
with Daredevil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they used her instead of the night nurse.
And I also think Daredevil wouldn't have exposed the night nurse to where he was hiding out and exposed her to the risk.
That too.
Oh, you mean to Bullseye? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, Bullseye
No,
just the risk of
Frank Castle's hideout.
where his hideout is and things
Oh,
like
I
that.
see. Okay. Yeah. I just thought that was kind of weird. But because they've been alluding to the night nurse a few times, or I'm remembering that right?
Yes.
Yeah. You
okay.
are.
So I'm kind of curious to see where. I mean, are we going to see her next and help out Daredevil and his face that got pummeled by Kingpin? I mean, I don't know.
And now you know why he wears a mask.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think one other point I want to bring up too, we didn't really address it yet. The whole BB storyline with Michael Gandolfini's character. This was actually pretty powerful stuff in its own right, because this has been going on for the whole season. And here you have BB actually for the first time maybe realize this is not a bad guy. He's just a guy who's put himself in a bad situation. And you actually see her have a little bit of humanity in caring for him for the first time. But yet she still gets busted because she has that chip in her jacket. And I think you're seeing two people kind of realize certain things about themselves as we watch this relationship develop, and I think it's very intriguing. And I'm unfortunately I think it is going to end up tragic before the season's done.
Is BB based off of a comic character?
I believe they have introduced her character in Daredevil as Ben Urik's niece. Yes.
Okay. Is there a reason why she would become attached to Daniel Blake's character, and then he gets murdered? Let's just say by Buck or whatever, or by Kingpin himself. And then what that does to her as a character, and is that something that's worth caring about? I'm trying to figure out what the end game is for these two characters, other than they're both on the edge of getting killed.
My guess is that he gets killed, and then she comes forward with all the information she has on Kingpin, and blows it up and puts it online.
Meaning that Blake will probably cough up more information for her.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And then he'll get killed, and she'll put it online and blow it up, and then perhaps kill herself or find herself on a plane flying somewhere where nobody else knows.
Well, or I think in her case too, it's a lesson that because if you see her at the beginning in season 1 of Born Again, and even at the beginning of this season, she really doesn't care as long as she gets the story. And I think she's realizing now there's a cost to that.
Yeah, now she's realizing, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't do that.
So I think it's a growing point for each character, and it could be both don't survive the end of the season. But I think BB's going to live. I think Michael Gandolfini's kind of going to go kind of the way of possibly, the
Dodos,
Tradition Sopranos cousins.
Yeah. No, I think BB will survive only for one real reason. She's a major character in the comics.
Yeah,
I'm not a major character, a minor character, but she's in the comics, so that may be the only reason why I think she would survive. But I just thought of this. It'd be awesome to bring Elektra back, or introduce Elektra again as.
I'm going to say that's a season 3 thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Season 3, and then bring Foggy back.
I don't know if we'll see Foggy back or not. They got a lot to do.
Yeah, we never know.
Any other thoughts? Yep. Any other thoughts before we get out of this phase, gentlemen?
No, we're good, man. That was some good discussion there. Thanks, Fadajan, by the way, for chiming in there. Appreciate you, man.
Well, let's power up that Tesseract one last time, and let's wrap up this show. Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure talking about this latest episode of Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 6, Requiem. This is a big episode, the return of Jessica Jones. So much happening in this episode. I think it's going to be an episode that is going to be a linchpin episode for this season. I would like to thank my fellow defenders for helping me out talking about this episode. It's been a lot of fun, guys. This has been covering Daredevil Born Again here on the Marvel True Believers podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Again, please remember these are spoiler shows. I would just like to say thanks to Fed again as well. We always love having you here, adding to the...
Wait, hold on. Who's pronouncing the name right? Is it me or you?
I think it goes
Which name? Which name?
Fedagin in the
Fedagin or
chat.
Fedagin.
Oh,
Yeah, I want to know that. Who's doing it?
It's a mystery only he knows. That's his superhero. That's his superpower. Nobody can say his name right.
He says soft G. Fedagin? Fedagin. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's like it's like I don't feel confident in pronouncing it.
What if we just call him Steve?
With the Worcestershire sauce. I don't know. I'm always saying that right.
Yeah, we just call everybody here Steve. We'll just
call
thank you for checking in.
Fedagin, Steve.
Fedagin. There we go.
So, guys, again, this has been the True Believers podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Not only do we cover Marvel, we cover everything that's happening in the comic book world as far as TV and media, and there's going to be a lot coming this year. So we're going to be around for a while, giving you all the updates on things that are happening in the comic book universe as far as movies and TV. Of course, too, it is the Fandom Podcast Network, year 10, still bringing you podcasts to feed your ears, and hopefully we're filling them and you're liking what you're tasting in your ears, because it's our pleasure to do this for you, the listener.
Dude, that was weird.
I'm weird. Right now I'm still weird. So I'm not even doing
that was definitely weird.
Tasting in your ears? Okay.
You might have a little ear. It might be a little waxy if you don't clean your ears out on a regular basis. I'll just say
that's still.
I'm just teasing you, buddy. That was funny.
That's okay. My brain's still not there yet, so it's okay. But we hope you're enjoying everything that's happening around the Fandom Podcast Network. Again, scan that QR code on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. It'll take you to the homepage of the Fandom Podcast Network's audio shows. They have all of our 10-year history of shows there on that page. A lot of stuff to enjoy, and we always appreciate your support. And speaking of support too, follow us on the social medias, whether it's Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at FanPod Network. Of course, you can find me, Kyle, on Twitter, and Blue Sky at AKyleW, on Instagram and Threads at AKyleFandom, and on Facebook at Kyle Wagner, and of course all over the Facebook groups of the Fandom Podcast Network. Kevin, where can people find you?
Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, X, Discord, and of course one of my favorites is Letterboxd, the movie app where I rate and keep track of all the movies that I watch. So make sure you check that out.
What's the handle there, Mr. Reitzel?
Spartan_Phoenix. Yes, there you go.
And he will be soon starting his 10-part series on how to use the 3 seashells.
I already know how to.
Oh yeah, but you're teaching the rest of us. So, and Kat, where can people find you?
Mainly Facebook, and it's at StaticCat1.
Yeah. Also, ladies and gentlemen, that seashells lessons will be sponsored by Taco Bell. Just saying.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gonna. Taco Bell will produce that. So yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no doubt.
And of course, too, we always appreciate your support, and we always like it when you buy the gear of the Fandom Podcast Network. Go to tpublic.com, search for the Fandom Podcast Network or your favorite show on the network. It will bring up the gear. We got so much stuff, from T-shirts to hats to mugs, pillows, tapestries, bags. Kevin's sporting his True Believers T-shirt there. If you're watching on YouTube, you know, it gives us a little kickback to keep that Tesseract powered up so we can continue to bring you this podcast. But you know what? We just like seeing you in our gear. It makes us feel good. We appreciate all the support and love from you guys. This has been True Believers on the Fandom Podcast Network, covering everything Daredevil Born Again. We will be back next week, continuing our coverage of Daredevil Born Again. But for this week, we covered Season 2, Episode 6, Requiem. Guys, as always, it's been a pleasure. Excelsior, and make ours Marvel. We are out of here.